Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jessie Thomas, and I'm a Customer Marketing Program Manager with Perceptive Software, and I'd like to welcome you to our webinar today. We're very excited to discuss our Perceptive Mobile and HTML web clients, as well as discuss a new mobile web client combo license. Presenting for us today is Patrick Berkeley, Senior Account Executive, Mike Askren, Product Manager, Perceptive Web, and Judd Millum, Product Manager, Perceptive Mobile. A couple of housekeeping things. Throughout today's presentation, please submit any questions you have through the GoToWebinar question box on the right-hand side of your screen. We will address those at the end of the presentation. Again, I would like to thank you all for attending, and I'll turn it over to Patrick.
Thanks, Jessie. Again, my name is Patrick Berkeley. I'm a Senior Account Executive with Perceptive Software, overseeing a subset of our customer group on the retail and manufacturing side as part of our cross-industry team. As Jessie alluded to, we are very excited to introduce two new clients to the Perceptive platform that will be introduced in our 7.0 release coming up in December. As we are as excited as much of our customer base and everybody that has attended today, that we are starting the evolution to our new Perceptive platform and providing an HTML client to provide functionality that exists in the client today over the HTML platform. As of 7.0, we will be releasing both the Perceptive Web and the Perceptive Mobile client. Initially, the functionality that will exist through the HTML client and the web or the mobile client will be being able to dynamically view documents via the URL link from your web client, being able to dynamically work with the document within workflow and viewing and routing those documents, locating documents and deficiency task completions, being able to view forms and modifying forms within both clients, as well as applying annotations to those documents. Two unique functionalities that many people are very excited to hear is our ability to drive a scanner from our Perceptive Web client, as well as the mobile capture clients. As Jessie has alluded to, another new exciting development as of 7.0 is the Perceptive Web and the Perceptive Mobile clients will also be part of our Perceptive content combo license family. So as of today, in the Perceptive combo license family today, you have access to be able to toggle between the ImageNow client and the WebNow client. Within 7.0, you will also have the ability to toggle those licenses between the Perceptive Web and the Perceptive Mobile clients. As part of this marketing endeavor, we've also allocated budget dollars to incentivize you to mobilize your organization. As of throughout the end of 2014, you will be able to receive a 50% discount toward the purchase of a mobile server license. For any additional questions, comments, or feedback, please contact your AEX for further details.
So, good morning, everybody. My name is Judd Millum, and I'm a product manager here at Perceptive. I'm going to show you a few things, but basically what I'm going to be doing is showing you an example using a real-life travel and expense experience that I have had. And what I'm going to show you is actually a use case that we here at Perceptive actually use in our own environment. And so what I'm going to do is I have been traveling to Inspire, for example, and along the way I have gone into SAP, I have set up my travel itinerary, and along the way I have been submitting images of receipts to my report. And what I'm going to show you here is my ability to add some existing receipts to my already existing report. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch Perceptive Mobile Capture, which is the orange ball that is down in the lower right-hand corner of the display. And so now I need to log in. Just like some of our other clients, I remember the last username that successfully logged in, but I still have to put in my password. So I will do so and hit the connect button. And so what you see here is the capture screen. And what this represents have not yet been uploaded to Perceptive content. These are still things that I am working on. So as you can see here, there's a few pieces of information that I'm given to identify what these image sets mean. So the first one that we see is an item at the top that's highlighted, and this is just the name associated with this image set. And so you can see here as you look down, there's one called junk, one called source technologies, and so on. And if you go on down to the bottom of the screen, you see one that has a date and timestamp. So that's the default value, and all these other ones I have changed to a value that's meaningful to me. And then you can also see text underneath that's not bolded, and that basically is the capture profile that I have associated to these image sets. So here within this capture screen, there's many things I can do. I can open up an image set, which I'm going to do. I'm going to open up this dermatology patient image set. So you can see there's some pictures here. There's some patient photos. If I navigate to the properties screen, which is the eye and the circle at the bottom, the control panel there, I'm going to select it. You can see all the metadata items that are associated with this image set. You can see some of them are filled in, some of them are not, still in working order. I'm going to exit out of that. There's also a functionality that we recently added. So if there's an image set here that I no longer want, I can delete it. So I'll delete the junk. So that just gives you an idea of what the capture screen looks like and some of the things that I can do with it. But really the main thrust here is I need to capture some receipts. And so I am going to open up and create a brand new image set. And I do so by selecting the plus sign at the bottom of the control panel here. And so if you remember earlier, you saw one of those image sets that had a predefined image set name as date and time. We do this for user convenience. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to back that out. I'm going to change it to something that's meaningful to me. I'm just going to call it demo. Now here's where I select the next item in the control panel is the capture profile that I want to associate with this image set. There's a lot of flexibility to this application, but for purposes here today, we're going to show you an expense report. So I'm just going to select the expenses, capture profile, select done, and now you can see I've associated a profile. Now from here, I have the flexibility to take a new picture or add an existing image from my camera roll. We're going to do both, but first of all, I'm going to take a picture. So this is one of the receipts that I need to add, so I'm just going to capture this image, and I'm going to select Use. And so now it'll take that image and drop that into the image set. And because I like my images clean, I'm going to select this image, and I'm going to crop it just so you can see what the functionality looks like. I'm going to hit the Edit tool, the Options menu, Perspective Crop, and hit Save. And so it crops it perspectively, and then it deskews it, and it brings me back an optimized image. So now I go back into the image set. What we have in the initial release is we keep not only the processed image, but also the original image if needed. Here, for example, I don't want to keep both of them, so I'm going to show you how to delete one of them. I'm going to hit the Edit button, which is the little pencil down in the control panel. Select this and hit the delete button and just confirm. And so now I'm going to show you how to go out and bring in images from my native camera roll. So the camera roll control is the fourth item. Select that, go into my camera roll, and I have two images here that I want to bring in, which is basically my travel itinerary. And I'm going to add that to the image set. So now I have 3 receipts associated with my image set. Now I need to go in and add my property values. So for purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to show you not all of these things are things that we actually have to do at Lexmark. The only required thing that we have to do is the SAP barcode scan, which I'll show you here in a minute. But just to show you the flexibility that we have in terms of navigation and text input, here I'm going to highlight the employee ID field. And one of the ways that we can input information into this field is we can use the native speech-to-text functionality. So I hit the microphone button, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can use that. And then in terms of navigation, I can use the left and right arrows to move back and forth, or I, for example, hit the right arrow, I move to the next one, my employee name. I can also use the native QWERTY keyboard. Type in my name. There's no one. And then finally, the cost center, I can also scan a barcode. So we have, you see this barcode control, I just select it. It opens up the barcode reader. I'm just going to use that for my cost center. And then the SAP barcode scan is something that we actually have to do here at Lexmark. So when our report starts to process out of SAP, we basically get a travel and expense statement. And part of that statement, we have to scan a barcode. And what that barcode does is it represents a trip number. And that trip number basically links all of the documents that I've submitted into content with my images. So that's what brings it all together into one document. So I'm going to hit the barcode scan. Here's an actual report. Got the barcode, going to bring that in. And then the trip name, because now I've associated it with this SAP barcode, I won't need to put this information in. It'll do it automatically on the back end. So I'm going to hit done. And then the final thing I have to do is the expense type. We default this as travel and expense because I use this more than anything else. But as you can see here, there's many things you can do with it. But it's just an example of different types of expenses, but here we use travel and expense. So I select done. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this image set to content. And to do so, I hit the upload control, which is the second control there. And so here's just a status of the upload. It's uploading all the images and the metadata. And then once that document has been received within content, I receive this successfully uploaded dialog. And once I hit close, I'm taken back into the capture screen. And next what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Mike Askren, who is my boss, and he will show you how he would do some approvals from the web client, from Perceptive Web.
Good morning, everyone. As Judd mentioned, I'm acting in the manager role in this use case, and I've logged into Perceptive Web in the browser on my desktop here. So you can see a little bit of the kind of the outer shell of the application as well as the travel and expense workflow process listed here that I'm participating in. There are other capabilities, including the ability to view documents that aren't in workflow, as well as the scan capture that Patrick mentioned at the beginning of the webinar. But to kind of complete our process demo here, I'm going to expand the travel and expense process and go into the queue expenses for approval. You can see the list of expense reports from my employees that report to me listed here in the queue, including a couple submitted by Judd, as well as a few others, with the columns of metadata here that are representative of the report details. I'm going to go ahead and open this report here from Judd for a trip to the Washington RUG, or Regional Users Group. And you can see here, as Judd kind of alluded to, the expense report cover sheet has been merged or married together with the various other receipts that he has captured through the mobile capture process that he just demonstrated. So the first few pages are the details of the report, and then we get into some of the receipts that were submitted through mobile capture through these various thumbnails, as you can see them here. I do have the ability to resize the fitting to view the entire page at a time for any given page, as well as rotate the items here for better viewing if necessary. Standard zoom controls, Over to the right, you can see the document properties that have been submitted with this report as well to give me some additional metadata. Custom properties can also be displayed here if they're associated with the document that's been processed in the workflow. So this gives you a pretty good view of the navigation components within Perceptive Web, where your application or module selection is here at the top. Your browse through the various views that are available on the left, and then the viewer portion in the middle with the ability to view the thumbnails. You can also hide the thumbnails pane to give you more real estate, and hide the properties pane as well, so that you could do a maximum fit like this to give you that really up-close view of a page if that was what you wanted to do. I can go back to page 1 here as well by easily typing in the page number without the thumbnails view visible. So that gives you, Judd's a pretty cheap traveler there, as you can see on the details of the report, but gives you a pretty good overview of the application. Now, of course, as a manager, I need to make a decision whether to route this forward for an approval or a rejection. I'm going to approve this report, and you'll see that as I do that, and it is routed forward, I return back to the queue with a message indicating that the route was successful. Now, alternatively, as a manager, I could have also accessed the same workflow process from the mobile device. And I'm going to turn this back over to Judd here to give you a demonstration of performing the same process from the mobile device as a comparison and representation of the simplicity accessible through evolution on mobile and desktop.
Okay, back to me, everybody. So here we are on the mobile device, and just because I see here we're getting a little short on time, I went ahead and logged into the workflow application. And so very similar to what Mike showed, we in the mobile application, we show both the document properties and custom properties. So I can navigate through these. And then as you can see at the bottom, we have this in a tabs form due to the real estate that we're dealing with. We break out properties, pages, and forms into different tabs. So by default, we show the properties tab first, just simply because as a mobile user, whether I'm on Wi-Fi or I'm out using some sort of carrier air interface, this is the information that we can download the fastest, so we show this first. However, if I want to view the pages, I simply touch the Pages tab, which is in the middle. It will highlight blue, and it'll take me into the pages of the document. And so here I have a page view at the top and a thumbnail view down at the bottom. And for user convenience, what we do with the thumbnails is you can see we highlight it in blue, so I can see where I am in the document from a navigational perspective. Now, if I want to go to full screen, I simply use touch navigation. I touch once, and you'll see that the thumbnails bar goes away. And I can navigate through these pages simply by swiping. And just for example, this is the receipt that I just took the picture of. So if I wanted to, I could zoom in, I could pan around, and I could zoom out. I can continue to navigate. If I press once, the bar will come back, and I can navigate also through the bar. So we give you a lot of flexibility in terms of the user experience, how you can navigate the pages of a document. Now, in terms of an expense report, we don't use an e-form here at Perceptive, but if we did, it would be in the Forms tab. I'll just open it. You can see here, since we don't use an e-form, there's not one associated with this tab, but if there was, it would be visible here. And then simply to approve this or reject this, in any case, I go up to the Action menu at the top, select it, and then my options here are to place on hold for another date and time. I can route this forward and I also have the option to seek the help dialog, or I can log out, or I can cancel altogether. So here I want to route this forward because I've already reviewed it. Anyway, what would typically happen is I would receive a dialog that would say, basically would show the route forward queues of reject or accept. I would hit the accept button and it would route it forward to the exception queue.
Thanks, Judd. Thanks, Mike. So that's the end of the demonstration today. We have a couple minutes left within the allotted 30 minutes to take any questions from the audience. We have quite a few here. We'll try to get to as many as we can, and if we can't get through all of them this morning, we'll certainly get back to each individual who provided their questions. Let's start off with number one. How is it licensed? Is it by client only, or is there a server component as well? So I'll take that. It's licensed. The mobile and the web is licensed separately, as both the client licenses as well as web licenses are today. As we also touched on a little bit earlier in the presentation, that this will also be introduced into our combo licensing family within 7.0. The only additional server component that is needed is for the mobile client. There is a mobile server license. As we are applying a 50% discount through the end of the year, based in part with this marketing endeavor. Question two, are there currently demos or documentation of the new 7.0 functionality on the Perceptive Customer Portal? Currently, the portal is being updated to provide all 7.0 functionality, and that should be introduced by mid-November. Can you please touch on the ability to drive a scanner from Perceptive Web? Mike, would you like to take that one?
Certainly I can. So it's something we're very excited about with the what we term as zero footprint web scanning, and by that, essentially if you have a scanner attached to the PC where you're accessing web from, it can drive ISIS or Twain-based scanner drivers through the browser to scan pages into the system. As you may well know, that's not a capability we've had with WebNow in the past. It's something that we're very excited about, to be able to support a more easily distributable scanning environment where the full client wouldn't be required on the individual workstations where users are scanning from.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Let's see here. Since you showed an example of a travel and expense, does it allow the ability to work offline? Judd?
Yes, it does. So if you're by chance familiar with our native workflow applications that we originally came out with on the mobile platform, those were basically a constant client-server connection. And so you, as a user, you always had to be connected to Perceptive content. However, with Perceptive Mobile Capture, you will be able to work in an offline mode. So, because at the end of the day, doing things like I showed you earlier, such as setting up an image set, defining the image set, acquiring images into it, inputting your document properties or your custom properties, doing your image processing, all of those things don't require a user to be connected to a server. So all of those things you can do in a disconnected mode. So therefore, the only reason why a user would have to be connected to a server is to upload your document into content.
Thanks, Judd. I think this is for our higher ed customers. Is Knowledge Web being rebranded as Perceptive Web? Mike?
Perceptive Web is actually a completely new user interface on top of our new Evolution platform. For those of you that may not have heard about the Evolution platform and the general advancement forward on that, it's the architecture that will allow us to operate in much more of a cloud-based application versus our typical on-prem deployments of the past. Knowledge Web will continue to exist as it is for some time. And Perceptive Web is a new option that ultimately begins to provide more and more advanced functionalities. What we demoed here today was obviously a very limited set of the capabilities we plan to build into Perceptive Web or the evolution platform in general. And I know that we've added some capabilities into Knowledge Web that leverage the content platform as well as the existing knowledge platform. But Perceptive Web is really, while it offers some of those same capabilities, it will continue to be enriched to a much more higher functioning application.
All right. Thank you, Mike. We've got probably time for one or two more questions. So is the mobile app iOS specific, or does it work with Android and MS, Microsoft?
Yes, that's a good question. So as it stands today, on the Evolution platform, we have basically two components on the mobile platform. We have what we call a client shell, and we have an application. And so today we have completed our first stage of the iOS shell, and we're currently working on the Android client shell. So by the time we release Perceptive Evolution, we will have both the iOS platform supported as well as the Android platform supported. And our hope is that sometime during, probably towards the end of the calendar year 2015, we'll also bring in support for Microsoft, most likely specifically for a Microsoft tablet.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we've got to probably summarize everything up here for you guys today. We do have quite a few other questions that we haven't been able to get to in this short period of time. We will take each individual question and follow up with the respective owner. So just to quickly summarize, both platforms that we presented today will be available in our 7.0 release, which is scheduled for the end of this year. That includes both the Perceptive Web and the Perceptive Mobile clients. Those clients will be licensed individually, as most of our clients are today, though they will also be introduced into our combo licensing family as a 7.0. Just to reiterate, we do have an end-of-year discount to incentivize all of our customers to begin to mobilize their platforms. If you purchase the mobile server license through the end of the year, we do have marketing budget allocated for a 50% discount towards the purchase of that mobile server. So again, if you have any further questions, please contact your individual AEX for any further demonstrations, questions, or proposals. With that, we'll